looked at data sovereignty and localization, and we started with the definition of data sovereignty, because we hear a lot of conversations around data sovereignty, but what does it actually mean? It means different things for different people. And we came down to a definition where data is a new natural resource, and having sovereignty over your data means having agency, having consent around sharing and such, and really having control over your data. So some of the questions we dived into have been around building ethical local data ecosystem. So what does it take as an ecosystem approach, from policy, from being able to disclose usage? If you're a global company coming to operate in another country, can you actually disclose how you're using the data and report results on some of the things we're implementing locally? And also, how do you incentivize local innovation? So how do you encourage the local ecosystem to build local and deploy local? So one of the innovation we recommend to focus on has been on innovation around financing mechanism. With aid being pulled back, there is a lot of funding that has for innovation locally that has been cut historically. So how do we rethink policy, law, and financing for local innovation? How do we encourage dialogue across the entire ecosystem, not just policymakers, but also startups and academia, so we can reach a consensus around knowledge, practice, and sovereignty over data? How do we navigate fragmentation across laws in multiple countries? Because problems actually don't know any border. So let's say if you take climate change, for example, you can have very similar environmental ecosystem between Uganda and Kenya. But if you're not able to share data, you might be preventing advancements in the local innovation. So how do we put the right governance for cross-border data flow? Another recommendation has been around not looking at data from a protective space, but actually looking at data from a benefit to the society space. So data as a public good. So how do we not just look at monetary value that comes back in the countries and the hands of the communities, but how do we look at better services for communities? Ownership of data for what benefits as well. So how do we really equitably share and open data and allow developers to access the right level of data quality so that they can be able to build innovation locally, but also encourage language and cultural preservation with AI.